r/AITA my SIL destroyed my phone for baby photos, so I drained her college fund. The sound of my phone hitting the concrete still echoes in my nightmares, but it's nothing compared to the sick satisfaction in Emma's eyes as she watched it shatter. There, my sister-in-law said, brushing off her hands like she'd just taken out the trash. Now you can finally move on. I stared at the fragments of black glass scattered across my driveway, my entire world crumbling with them. 3 months. 3 months since I'd lost Lily, and those photos were all I had left of my daughter's brief, precious life. Her tiny fingers wrapped around mine. The way she looked so peaceful sleeping in her hospital bassinet. The only proof that she'd existed at all. What did you do? The words came out as a whisper, but I felt like I was screaming. Emma crossed her arms, chin raised defiantly. I did what your husband was too weak to do. Sarah, keeping photos of a dead baby isn't normal. It's morbid and unhealthy, and everyone's been tiptoeing around you for months when what you really need is tough love. My legs gave out. I dropped to my knees on the cold pavement, frantically gathering the pieces of my phone, cutting my fingers on the sharp edges. Maybe if I collected every fragment, maybe if I took it to one of those data recovery places. The photos, I gasped. Emma, those were the only copies. I never backed them up because I thought nothing could happen to them. For a split second, something flickered across her face. Doubt, maybe. But then she doubled down. Good. This is helping you, Sarah. You're stuck in the denial phase of grief, and someone had to force you into acceptance. Lily is gone, and clinging to pictures isn't bringing her back. The casual way she said my daughter's name made bile rise in my throat. How dare she? How dare she speak about Lily like she was just some obstacle to overcome, some problem to solve? I trusted you, I whispered, still clutching the broken pieces. You said you were coming over to check on me. I let you in. I made you tea. I asked to see your phone because I was worried about you. When I saw that you'd been staring at those images, I knew I had to intervene. No one else was willing to do it. Images. She called photos of my baby images like they were something obscene. I thought about this morning, how I'd woken up panicking because I couldn't remember the exact shade of Lily's hair. How I'd scrolled through those photos for the 100th time, memorizing every detail of her perfect little face. How relieved I'd felt when I could picture her clearly again. Now even that was gone. Get out. I stood up slowly, pieces of glass falling from my palms. Get out of my house. Sarah, I know you're upset, but... Get out. Emma flinched at the raw fury in my voice, but she didn't look sorry. Not really. She looked like a martyr, convinced she'd done something noble and brave. I'll call you when you're ready to thank me, she said, walking toward her car. This was an act of love, Sarah. Someday you'll understand that. As her taillights disappeared down the street, I sank back to the pavement and wept. Not just for Lily, but for the theft of my last connection to her. Emma had stolen more than photos, she'd stolen my memories, my proof, my everything. That's when I remembered the college fund. The inheritance from my grandmother that I'd been planning to share with the family. The fund Emma desperately needed for her final semester of nursing school. My phone was destroyed. But my laptop was still inside, and my banking passwords were saved. I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, staring at the Hartwell Trust account dashboard. $127,000. The money my grandmother left me with specific instructions, for education and bettering the family's future. I'd already allocated $30,000 for Emma's nursing school, money she was counting on to graduate in 3 months. My hand shook as I scrolled through the beneficiary settings. Emma Chen Rodriguez. Status, active. With 2 clicks, I could change that to revoked. But I hesitated. This wasn't just about Emma anymore. My brother Jake had called me crying last month, talking about how proud he was that his wife was finally going to be a nurse. How they'd already planned their future around her starting salary. How they'd put down a deposit on a small house near the hospital where she'd gotten a job offer. I thought about Lily again. How she'd lived for 6 precious days before her heart couldn't fight anymore. How the nurses had been so gentle with her, so careful. How they'd made molds of her tiny hands and feet when they realized. My phone buzzed. Jake's number on my laptop screen, he was video calling. Sarah, thank God you picked up. Emma just called me sobbing, saying you two had some kind of fight? His face filled the screen, concerned and confused. She said something about accidentally breaking your phone? Accidentally. Of course that's how she'd frame it. Jake. My voice sounded hollow, even to me. She destroyed it on purpose. All my photos of Lily were on there. His face went white. What? No, that can't be right. Emma said it was an accident, that she was trying to help you find a phone repair place and... She threw it on the concrete because she thought pictures of my dead daughter were morbid. The words tasted like poison coming out of my mouth. Jake was quiet for a long moment. In the background, I could hear Emma's voice, sharp and defensive. I told you, it was an intervention. Someone had to. Emma, stop. Jake's voice was firm. Just, stop talking for a minute. But she didn't stop. She moved into frame, her face defiant. Jake, I did what I thought was best. Sarah has been obsessing over those photos for months. It wasn't healthy. They were the only copies, I said quietly. The only proof I have that my daughter existed. Emma's expression softened for just a moment, but then she straightened her shoulders. Sarah, I know you think I'm the villain here, but grief counselors agree that holding on to physical reminders can prevent healing. I researched this. I talked to professionals. You talked to professionals about my grief? About my daughter? Someone had to. You've been spiraling, and Jake was too scared to address it. Your husband Mark is too guilty about not being there when she died too. Stop. The word exploded out of me. Stop psychoanalyzing my grief. Stop making decisions for me. Stop pretending you know what's best for me. Jake looked between us, clearly torn. Okay, everyone needs to calm down. Emma, even if your intentions were good, you can't just destroy someone's property. And Sarah. He paused, studying my face on the screen. What aren't you telling me? You have that look you get when you're planning something. I glanced at the trust account page still open in another tab. Emma needed that money. Her tuition was due in 2 weeks. I'm not planning anything, I lied. I just want my brother to understand that his wife deliberately destroyed the only photos I had of my child. Emma leaned closer to the camera. And I'd do it again. Because that's what family does, we make the hard choices when someone we love can't make them for themselves. That's when I knew. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't going to apologize. She genuinely believed she'd saved me. I closed the laptop and opened the banking app on my tablet instead. The banking app loaded with agonizing slowness, each second stretching like an eternity. My finger hovered over Emma's beneficiary profile while her words echoed in my head, I'd do it again. I clicked edit beneficiary status. But before I could go further, my front door burst open. Mark's voice carried through the house, exhausted and confused. Sarah? Jake called me at work, said there was some emergency with your phone? I slammed the tablet shut and shoved it under a stack of mail. Mark appeared in the kitchen doorway, still in his electrician's uniform, his face creased with worry. He'd been working double shifts since we lost Lily, throwing himself into rewiring office buildings like he could somehow fix what was broken in our lives. What happened? Jake said Emma broke your phone? The concern in his voice almost broke me. Mark had been walking on eggshells around me for months, terrified that one wrong word would send me over the edge. He blamed himself for being on a job site when Lily's heart monitor started beeping, for not being there to hold my hand when the doctors delivered the news. She threw it on the driveway, I said simply. On purpose. All the photos are gone. Mark's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, and then a rage I'd never seen before. She what? Sarah, tell me you're joking. The photos of Lily. All of them. Emma said they were morbid and I needed to move on. Mark sank into the chair across from me, his hands shaking. The one where she's holding your finger? The one where she's wearing that tiny pink hat? I nodded, tears burning my eyes. Those were his favorites too. Sometimes I'd catch him looking at them over my shoulder, his own grief written across his face in quiet, desperate lines. I'm going to kill her, he said quietly. I'm actually going to drive over there and... Mark, don't. Don't? Sarah, she destroyed our daughter's photos. The only ones we have. His voice cracked. I don't have them memorized like you do. I was already starting to forget what her hands looked like. The raw pain in his admission hit me like a physical blow. I'd been so consumed by my own loss that I'd forgotten Mark was grieving too. Those photos weren't just mine, they were ours. My phone, my new phone, buzzed on the counter. A text from an unknown number. Asterisk Sarah, this is Emma. I got your number from Jake. I've been thinking about what happened today, and I want you to know that I stand by my decision. I've attached some articles about prolonged grief disorder that I think you should read. What I did was an act of love, even if you can't see that right now. Emma asterisk. She'd attached 3 psychology articles about pathological grief and unhealthy attachment to deceased loved ones. I showed Mark the text. His jaw clenched as he read. She's doubling down, he said in disbelief. She actually thinks she did us a favor. Another text came through, asterisk I know you're angry, but I hope someday you'll thank me for helping you take this important step in your healing journey. I consulted with grief counselors about this approach. Asterisk. Mark stood up so violently his chair scraped against the floor. She consulted with grief counselors about our grief? About our daughter? The tablet was still warm under the stack of mail. Emma's beneficiary profile was one click away from being permanently revoked. $30,000 gone, just like that. Just like Lily's photos. Mark, I said slowly, what if I told you there was a way to make her understand? To make her feel what we're feeling right now? He looked at me carefully. What do you mean? What if we could take something away from her that she's been counting on? Something she needs for her future? Mark's expression shifted. Sarah, what are you thinking? I pulled out the tablet and showed Mark the trust account page. His eyes widened as he took in the numbers, the beneficiary list, Emma's name highlighted in blue. Your grandmother's inheritance, he said quietly. The education fund. $30,000. Emma's counting on it for her final semester. Without it, she can't graduate. My finger traced the edge of the screen. She'll lose everything she's worked for. Mark stared at the screen for a long moment. Sarah, that's nuclear. If you do this, there's no going back. Before I could respond, my phone rang. Jake's number again. Don't answer it, Mark said, but I was already swiping to accept. Jake's face appeared, and this time he looked desperate. Sarah, please. Emma told me what she texted you. She's not handling this well. She's not handling this well? The words came out sharper than I intended. Look, I'm not defending what she did. Breaking your phone was wrong. But Sarah, you have to understand, Emma's been worried about you for months. We all have. When you didn't show up for Mom's birthday dinner because you were having a bad day, when you stopped returning calls. So this is my fault? No. That's not what I'm saying. Jake ran his hands through his hair. I'm saying Emma made a stupid, horrible decision because she thought she was helping. But she's my wife, and she's 3 months away from becoming a nurse. She's worked so hard for this. In the background, I could hear Emma crying. Real tears this time, not the righteous anger from earlier. Is she sorry? I asked. Actually sorry, not just upset that I'm mad at her. Jake hesitated. She's struggling with this. She genuinely believed she was doing the right thing. That's not an answer. Sarah, please. Don't do anything permanent while you're angry. Whatever you're thinking of doing. How do you know I'm thinking of doing anything? Jake's face went pale. Because I know that look. It's the same look you had when Tommy Morrison spread those rumors about you in high school, right before you got him suspended for cheating. Mark squeezed my hand. Sarah, maybe we should think about this more. But thinking was dangerous. Thinking meant remembering Emma's satisfied smile as my phone shattered. Thinking meant hearing her say she'd do it again. Put Emma on the phone, I said. Jake disappeared from frame, and a moment later Emma's tear-streaked face appeared. Sarah, Are you sorry? She wiped her nose. I'm sorry you're hurt. I'm sorry you can't see that I was trying to help you. That's not what I asked. Are you sorry for destroying my phone? Emma's face hardened slightly. No. I'm not sorry for trying to save you from an unhealthy obsession. Mark made a strangled noise beside me. Even through his grief, I could see the shock on his face. She really wasn't going to back down. Emma, those photos were irreplaceable, I said slowly. Do you understand what irreplaceable means? I understand that you were using them to avoid processing your grief. I understand that sometimes we have to lose things in order to heal. My finger moved to the revoke beneficiary button. You're right, I said quietly. Sometimes we do have to lose things. Sarah, wait, Jake's voice came from somewhere off screen, but Emma was still staring at me with that stubborn, self-righteous expression. I hope this teaches you something important about letting go, she said. I pressed the button. The screen flashed, beneficiary status changed TO revoked. $30,000. Gone. Just like my photos. Just like Lily. There, I said, echoing Emma's words from earlier. Now you can finally move on. Emma's face went from confused to horrified as understanding dawned. What did you just do? I revoked your access to the college fund, I said, my voice eerily calm. Effective immediately. Consider it a lesson in letting go of things you were counting on. The silence stretched for several heartbeats before Emma started hyperventilating. No, no, no. Sarah, you can't do this. That money, I need that money. My tuition is due next week. And I needed those photos. But you decided what was best for me, so now I'm deciding what's best for you. Jake's face appeared back on screen, pale and frantic. Sarah, please tell me you're bluffing. The nursing program Emma's worked for 4 years. She should have thought of that before she appointed herself my grief counselor, I snapped. Before she decided my daughter's photos were too morbid to exist. Mark was staring at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Not disapproval, exactly, but something close to it. Sarah. Don't you dare take her side, I whirled on him. Don't you dare tell me I've gone too far when she destroyed the only pictures we had of our baby. I'm not taking her side. But this is permanent. Once you revoke that trust fund. Good. Maybe permanent consequences will teach her about permanent losses. On the screen, Emma was crying harder now. Sarah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, okay? I made a mistake. I was trying to help, but I see now that I was wrong. Please, you can't take away my education. I've already been accepted for a position at Children's Hospital. I want to work with babies because of what happened to Lily. I want to help other families. Don't. The word came out like a gunshot. Don't you dare use my daughter's name to justify this. Don't you dare pretend destroying her photos somehow inspired your career choices. Emma flinched. That's not what I meant. You know what you meant. You meant to manipulate me. Just like you manipulated the situation this afternoon. I leaned closer to the camera. How does it feel, Emma? Having your future ripped away from you without warning? Having someone else decide what's best for your life? Jake jumped back into frame. Sarah, listen to me. Emma made a terrible mistake, but please don't destroy her entire future over it. She can't get loans this close to graduation. Without that money, she'll have to drop out. Then maybe she should have considered that before she decided to play therapist with my grief. What about me? Jake's voice cracked. I'm your brother. Doesn't that mean anything? We've been planning our whole life around Emma graduating. We put a deposit on a house. I already put in my notice at the warehouse to move closer to her job. That stopped me cold. I'd been so focused on punishing Emma that I'd forgotten about the collateral damage. Jake had always been the gentle one, the peacekeeper. He'd held me while I cried after every miscarriage before Lily. He'd driven 6 hours to be at the hospital when she was born, and another 6 when she died. Jake, No, I get it, he said bitterly. I understand you're in pain. But you just nuked my wife's career and our entire future because you're angry. How is that justice? How is that fair to me? Mark's hand found mine, but I pulled away. Nothing about this is fair, Jake. It wasn't fair when Emma destroyed my phone. It wasn't fair when Lily died after 6 days. Fairness doesn't exist. So you're just going to spread the misery around? Make everyone else as miserable as you are? His words hit like a slap. Is that what you think this is about? Honestly? Yeah. I think you're so broken that you want to break everyone else too. The laptop screen flickered, and for a moment I thought the call had dropped. But then I saw Emma lean into frame, her face streaked with tears but set with determination. Sarah, she said quietly. If you don't reverse this, I'm going to tell everyone what really happened. About how you've been obsessing over those photos, about how you've been refusing help, about how unstable you've become since Lily died. I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you really are. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Mark stood up slowly. Did she just threaten to destroy your reputation if you don't give her the money back? Emma's chin lifted defiantly. I'm protecting myself. And protecting this family from someone who's clearly not thinking straight. That's when I realized Emma hadn't learned anything at all. Even now, even after losing $30,000, she still thought she was the victim. She still thought she was justified. I reached for the laptop and clicked end call. The screen went black, leaving Mark and me staring at our own reflections. Well, Mark said after a moment. I guess we know where everyone really stands. The silence in our kitchen felt deafening after Emma's threat. Mark and I sat staring at the blank laptop screen, both of us processing what had just happened. She's going to weaponize your grief, Mark said finally, his voice hollow. She's actually going to tell people you're unstable. Before I could respond, my phone started buzzing. Text after text, lighting up the screen like a slot machine. Asterisk mom, Jake just called. What's this about Emma's college money? Call me immediately. Asterisk. Asterisk Mark's sister Katie, heard about the drama with Emma, yikes. You okay? Asterisk. Asterisk my cousin Michelle, Jake is posting some pretty intense stuff on Facebook right now. What happened? Asterisk. Jesus Christ, Mark muttered, pulling out his own phone. She works fast. I opened Facebook with trembling fingers. Jake's most recent post, shared 15 minutes ago. Asterisk sometimes families go through really hard times and people make decisions they can't take back. Please pray for all of us, especially my sister Sarah who is struggling more than any of us realized. Grief can make us hurt the people trying to help us. Emma's nursing career might be over because of choices made in anger. I don't know how to fix this. Asterisk. 43 comments already. Relatives, family, friends, people from high school I hadn't talked to in years, all weighing in on my mental state and demanding details. Asterisk Aunt Carol, what happened? Is Sarah okay? Emma is such a sweet girl. Asterisk. Asterisk Emma's nursing school friend, wait, what? Emma might not graduate? She's worked so hard. Asterisk. Asterisk my high school friend Rebecca, sending love to Sarah. Losing a baby changes you. People need to be more understanding. Asterisk. Asterisk Jake's coworker, man, families are complicated. Hope everyone can work it out. Asterisk. The worst part was Jake's replies, painting himself as a long-suffering brother trying to hold everyone together while his unstable sister destroyed innocent people's lives. He hadn't mentioned the phone. Hadn't mentioned what Emma did to trigger this whole thing. My phone rang. Mom. Don't answer it, Mark said, but I was already swiping. Sarah Elizabeth, what in God's name is going on? Jake called me crying, saying you've taken away Emma's college money over some argument about a phone? Mom, it's not that simple. A phone, Sarah. A phone. You're destroying that girl's education over a broken phone? I closed my eyes. There were photos on that phone. Of Lily. Emma threw it on the concrete on purpose because she thought. I don't care what she thought. You don't ruin someone's life over property damage. That's what insurance is for. Insurance doesn't cover the photos, Mom. They were the only copies I had of my daughter. The line went quiet for a moment. Oh, honey. The baby pictures? All of them. Emma said they were morbid and I needed to move on. She said she'd do it again. Another pause. Well, that's terrible, Sarah. But taking away her college money? That seems extreme. Extreme. Everyone kept using that word, like there was some proportional response to having your dead child's photos destroyed. Like there was an appropriate amount of revenge for this kind of violation. Mom, she's not sorry. She threatened to tell everyone I'm mentally unstable if I don't give the money back. Well. Mom's voice got careful. Honey, you have been struggling since the baby died. We've all been worried about you. Maybe Emma was just. Don't you dare finish that sentence. Sarah, I'm not saying she was right to break your phone. But you've been different. Withdrawn. You missed my birthday dinner, you haven't been returning calls. Because my daughter died, Mom. Because I'm grieving. Of course you are. But grief counseling exists for a reason. Maybe if you've gotten some help instead of isolating yourself. I hung up. Mark was watching me with that careful expression again. Let me guess. Emma's version is already spreading. My phone buzzed with a new text from an unknown number, asterisk this is Emma. I didn't want it to come to this, but you've left me no choice. I've already talked to your mother-in-law about your concerning behavior lately. Tomorrow I'm calling your work to express concern for your mental health. This could all stop if you just restore my funding and we all agree to get you the help you clearly need. Asterisk. She's going after my job now, I whispered, showing Mark the text. His face went white. She can't do that. Can she? Another buzz, asterisk I have documentation of your grief obsession from multiple family members. I've been keeping notes in case an intervention became necessary. Restore my college fund by tomorrow night or everyone will see exactly how far you've fallen since Lily died. This is your last chance to do the right thing. Emma asterisk. Mark read over my shoulder, his breathing getting shallow. She's been documenting your grief? Taking notes? The room started spinning. Emma hadn't just destroyed my photos on impulse. She'd been planning this, watching me, building a case against my mental state. My grief had been evidence to her, ammunition for some future battle I didn't even know we were fighting. Mark, I said slowly. What if she's right? What if I really am losing it? He grabbed my hands, forcing me to look at him. Sarah, no. You're grieving your daughter. There's nothing crazy about that. But doubt was creeping in like cold water. Maybe I had been obsessing over those photos. Maybe checking them multiple times a day wasn't normal. Maybe everyone really had been worried about me, and I'd been too lost in my own pain to notice. My phone rang again. Jake's number. This time, Mark answered. What do you want, Jake? I want to fix this before it gets worse. Emma's scared, man. She's talking about going to Sarah's HR department, filing some kind of wellness report. Let her try, Mark said, but his voice shook. Mark, you know Sarah's been struggling. You know she hasn't been herself. If Emma presents evidence of concerning behavior to the right people. The threat hung there, unspoken but clear. Emma could destroy more than just my family relationships. She could destroy my career, my reputation, everything. What does she want? I asked, taking the phone from Mark. Restore her college fund, Jake said quietly. Do that, and this all goes away. Emma keeps quiet, you keep your job, and we all try to move forward. And if I don't? Then my wife fights for her future the only way she has left. The banking app was still open on my tablet. One click could restore Emma's funding. One click could make this nightmare end. But it would also mean she won. I stared at the tablet screen, my finger hovering over the Restore Beneficiary button. One click. That's all it would take to make Emma's threats disappear. But then I thought about Lily's tiny hand curled around my finger in that first photo. The one I'd never see again because Emma decided it was morbid. No, I said quietly into the phone. Sarah, please, Jake started. No. Tell your wife that if she wants to destroy my reputation, she can try. But I'm not giving her a penny. I ended the call and immediately opened my laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. If Emma wanted to play dirty, I could do that too. Within minutes, I crafted my own Facebook post. Asterisk, some of you may have seen my brother's post about our family situation. What he didn't mention is that his wife Emma deliberately destroyed my phone containing the only photos I had of my daughter Lily, who died 3 months ago. When confronted, Emma said the pictures were morbid and that she would do it again. She has now threatened to sabotage my career unless I pay for her college tuition. I'm sharing this because Emma plans to spread lies about my mental health, and I want people to know the truth about what really happened. Asterisk. I attached screenshots of Emma's threatening texts before I could second guess myself. Sarah, are you sure about this? Mark asked, reading over my shoulder. She fired the first shot. She doesn't get to control the narrative. Within minutes, the comments started flooding in. Asterisk Rebecca, oh my god Sarah, she destroyed baby photos? What kind of monster does that? Asterisk. Asterisk my coworker Janet, this is so messed up. Those photos were priceless. Asterisk. Asterisk Mark's cousin Dave, Team Sarah all the way. Emma sounds like a psychopath. Asterisk. But then Jake's friends started responding. Asterisk Emma's study partner, there are always two sides to every story. Emma is one of the kindest people I know. Asterisk. Asterisk Jake's best friend Tom, maybe everyone should stay out of family business instead of airing it on social media. Asterisk. My phone rang. An unknown number. Sarah? This is Dr. Patterson from your OB's office. I'm calling because we received a concerning call about your mental state from a family member who identified herself as Emma Rodriguez. She expressed worry about your ability to cope with your loss and suggested you might be experiencing a psychotic break. I wanted to check in with you directly. My blood turned to ice. She called my doctor? I can't discuss the specifics of what was reported, but I do want to ask, are you having any thoughts of harming yourself or others? Any episodes of confusion or disorientation? No. Dr. Patterson, I'm grieving my daughter. That's not a mental illness. Of course not, honey. But this person seemed very concerned. She mentioned you've been obsessing over disturbing images and making erratic decisions that affect your family's well-being. Disturbing images. She described photos of my baby as disturbing images to my doctor. The only erratic decision I've made is trusting someone who turned out to be cruel, I said through gritted teeth. I believe you, Sarah. But I do need to document this call in your file. If you'd like to come in to talk, or if you need a referral for grief counseling. I'll think about it, I lied, and hung up. Mark was pacing the kitchen, his own phone pressed to his ear. Mom, slow down. What do you mean she called your book club? I felt like I was drowning. Emma wasn't just threatening to destroy my reputation, she was already doing it, methodically calling everyone in my life. My work phone buzzed with a text from my supervisor, asterisk Sarah, I received an unusual call today from someone claiming to be your concerned sister-in-law. Can we talk first thing Monday morning? Asterisk. Emma had kept her promise. She was dismantling my life piece by piece, and I was powerless to stop it. But then I remembered something. Emma had made one crucial mistake. She put her threats in writing. I grabbed my phone and screenshot every threatening text Emma had sent, my hands shaking with adrenaline. She documented her own extortion attempts in writing, texts about sabotaging my career, about keeping notes on my grief, about how she'd destroy my reputation if I didn't restore her funding. Mark, look at this, I said, showing him the evidence. She literally admitted to blackmail via text message. His eyes widened as he read. She's not very smart, is she? But before I could respond, my phone rang again. This time it was my boss's personal number, not the work line. Hi Jennifer, I answered, trying to keep my voice steady. Sarah, I'm so sorry to bother you on the weekend, but I received the strangest call this afternoon. A woman claiming to be your sister-in-law said she was worried about your mental stability and thought your workplace should be aware of some concerning behaviors. My stomach dropped. What exactly did she tell you? She said you've been making irrational decisions that have hurt your family, that you've been obsessing over inappropriate images, and that she's worried you might have a breakdown at work. Sarah, I've known you for 5 years. This doesn't sound like you at all, but I'm required to follow up on reports like this. I could hear the discomfort in Jennifer's voice. She didn't want to be having this conversation any more than I did. Jennifer, my sister-in-law destroyed my phone containing photos of my baby who died 3 months ago. When I confronted her about it, she threatened to sabotage my career unless I pay her college tuition. I had the text messages to prove it. The line went quiet for a long moment. She destroyed photos of your baby? Every single one. And then told me I needed to move on and that keeping pictures of my daughter was morbid. Jesus, Sarah. That's horrible. Can you forward me those threatening texts? If she's genuinely trying to extort you, that changes everything. Relief flooded through me. Jennifer believed me. At least one person was seeing through Emma's manipulation. I forwarded the screenshots while we were still on the phone. I could hear Jennifer's sharp intake of breath as she read them. This is harassment, Sarah. Pure and simple. She's literally threatening to damage your career for financial gain. You need to document everything and consider filing a police report. After I hung up, Mark was staring at his own phone with a grim expression. My mom just forwarded me something. Emma's been busy. He showed me a group text that had gone out to extended family members, aunts, uncles, cousins I rarely saw. Emma had somehow gotten their numbers and sent them all a carefully crafted message. Asterisk hi everyone, this is Emma, Jake's wife. I'm reaching out because I'm deeply concerned about Sarah's mental health following her loss. She's made some very troubling decisions recently that have hurt multiple family members, and I'm worried she might need professional intervention. If anyone has noticed concerning behavior, please reach out to Jake or myself. We're trying to get her help before something worse happens. Asterisk. She's building a coalition, I whispered. Making herself look like a concerned family member while painting me as unstable. But Emma had underestimated one thing, not everyone in our family was easily manipulated. My phone buzzed with a call from my Aunt Linda, Mom's sister who'd never liked dramatic nonsense. Sarah, honey, I just got the strangest text from that girl Jake married. She's asking me to report on your behavior like you're some kind of criminal. What the hell is going on? I explained the situation to Linda, who listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. So let me get this straight, Linda said finally. This little witch destroyed your baby pictures, threatened your job when you fought back, and is now trying to convince everyone you're crazy? That's exactly what happened. Well then. Sounds like Emma just picked a fight with the wrong family. I'm going to make some calls of my own, and they won't be nearly as polite as hers. For the first time since this nightmare started, I felt like someone was truly on my side. But then my phone buzzed with a new message from Emma, * last chance, Sarah. Restore my funding by midnight or this gets much worse. You have no idea how far I'm willing to go. *. The midnight deadline Emma had set was still 4 hours away, but she wasn't waiting. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since Linda's call, each notification bringing fresh horror. A Facebook message from my high school friend Jessica, * Sarah, I just got a call from someone claiming to be your family member. She said you'd been having episodes and asked if I'd noticed anything concerning when we had lunch last month. This is really weird. *. Another from my neighbor Mrs. Chen, * dear, a young woman stopped by asking about your recent behavior. She seemed very worried about you. Is everything alright? *. Emma was going door to door now. Actually visiting people in person to spread her poison. She's at the Hendersons, Mark said from the living room window, his voice tight. I can see her talking to Bill on their front porch. I joined him at the window, watching Emma gesture animatedly to our elderly neighbor 3 houses down. Even from a distance, her body language screamed concern and distress, the perfect picture of a worried family member seeking help for her unstable relative. This is insane, I breathed. She's campaigning against me in our own neighborhood. My work phone rang. The weekend emergency line. Sarah, it's Jennifer again. I'm so sorry to call twice in one day, but I just got another call about you. This time from someone claiming to be your mother-in-law, saying she's noticed significant personality changes since your loss and thinks you might be a danger to yourself or others. My mother-in-law lived in Florida and hadn't spoken to me since the funeral. That wasn't my mother-in-law. I'm starting to figure that out. The woman couldn't answer basic questions about your employment history, and she kept pushing me to place you on immediate psychiatric leave. Sarah, this is harassment on a scale I've never seen before. What do I do? Document everything. And honestly, you might want to consider filing a restraining order. This level of harassment could escalate. After I hung up, Mark was pacing again, his hands clenched into fists. She just knocked on the Patel's door. Our mail carrier is due in an hour, what's she going to tell him? The grocery store clerks who know us? Before I could answer, Jake's car pulled into our driveway. Through the window, I watched him march up to our front door, his face set in grim determination. Don't answer it, Mark said, but the doorbell was already ringing. We have to face this eventually, I replied, walking toward the front door. Jake stood on our porch looking haggard, like he'd aged 5 years since our video call. Sarah, you need to stop this. Emma's getting death threats now because of your Facebook post. Good, I said coldly. That's not good. Someone called her a baby killer in the comments. Another person said she deserves to have her own kids die. This has gotten completely out of hand. I felt a stab of something, not quite guilt, but close. Jake, I didn't tell anyone to threaten her. You painted her as a monster on social media and then acted surprised when people reacted like monsters. Emma's having panic attacks. She can barely leave the house. Then maybe she should stop going door to door spreading lies about my mental health, Mark interjected from behind me. Jake's face flushed. She's trying to get you help. Can't you see that Sarah's not thinking clearly? Normal people don't destroy someone's entire future over a broken phone. Normal people don't destroy irreplaceable photos of a dead baby, I shot back. It was a mistake. A stupid, horrible mistake, but she was trying to help you move forward. By calling my boss? My doctor? My neighbors? That's helping? Jake's shoulders sagged. She's scared, Sarah. You hold all the power here. You control money she desperately needs, and you've turned the entire internet against her. What's she supposed to do? Before I could answer, my phone rang with yet another unknown number. Sarah Williams? The voice was professional, unfamiliar. This is Detective Rodriguez with the County Sheriff's Office. We've received several reports of concerning behavior and wanted to do a welfare check. My blood turned to ice. Reports from whom? Multiple family members expressing worry about your mental state following a recent loss. They're concerned you might be a danger to yourself or others. We'd like to send an officer to speak with you. Emma had called the police. She'd actually called the police and reported me as potentially dangerous. Detective, I'm fine. My sister-in-law is harassing me because I refused to pay her college tuition after she destroyed my property. I understand there may be a dispute, ma'am, but we still need to verify your well-being. An officer will be by within the hour. Jake was watching my face, and whatever he saw there made him step backward. She called the cops, I said numbly. Emma called the police and told them I'm dangerous. Sarah, I swear I didn't know she was going to. Get out. The words exploded out of me. Get out of my house and take your psychotic wife with you. But Jake was already backing toward his car, his face pale with what looked like genuine fear. As his taillights disappeared down the street, I realized Emma had won. She'd systematically destroyed my reputation, turned my family against me, and now had law enforcement questioning my sanity. All because I'd refused to reward her for destroying the only photos I had of my daughter. The banking app was still open on my tablet, Emma's profile waiting. I could restore her funding with one click and end this nightmare. But then I remembered something Linda had said, Emma just picked a fight with the wrong family. Maybe it was time to show Emma exactly what that meant. I sat in my kitchen, staring at my phone as the notifications continued to pour in. Each buzz felt like another nail in my coffin, but I wasn't ready to surrender. Not yet. Then I remembered something that made my heart race with possibility. Emma's nursing program had a strict ethics code. I'd heard her complaining about it before, how one black mark on your record could get you expelled, how they conducted thorough background checks, how any evidence of harassment or blackmail was grounds for immediate dismissal. My fingers flew across my laptop keyboard as I pulled up Riverside Community College's nursing program website. There it was, students must maintain the highest standards of professional conduct both in clinical settings and in their personal lives. Any behavior deemed inconsistent with nursing ethics, including harassment, intimidation, or extortion, will result in immediate review and potential expulsion. I started typing an email to the program director. Asterisk, Dear Dr. Martinez, I am writing to report concerning conduct by one of your nursing students, Emma Rodriguez. She has engaged in a pattern of harassment, extortion, and intimidation following a personal dispute. Asterisk. I attached screenshots of Emma's threatening texts, her admission that she was documenting my grief, her blackmail attempts. Everything carefully timestamped and preserved. But before I could hit send, my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw a police cruiser in my driveway and an officer standing on my porch. Ma'am, I'm Officer Williams with the County Sheriff's Department. We received some calls about a welfare check. I opened the door, keeping my voice steady. Officer, I'm fine. My sister-in-law has been harassing me after I refused to pay her college tuition, and she's apparently escalated to filing false police reports. The officer was young, maybe mid-20s, with kind eyes that reminded me painfully of one of Lily's nurses. He glanced at his notepad. The caller reported that you've been making threats and behaving erratically since a recent loss. She seemed very concerned about your mental state. Did she mention that she destroyed my phone containing photos of my deceased daughter? I asked. Or that she's been threatening to sabotage my career unless I give her money? Officer Williams' expression shifted slightly. No ma'am, she did not mention that. I showed him the threatening texts on my phone, watching his eyebrows rise as he read. This person has been sending you these messages while simultaneously calling in welfare checks. She's trying to force me to pay her college tuition by making everyone think I'm having a mental breakdown, I explained. She's called my work, my doctor, even been going door to door in my neighborhood. The officer made notes in his pad. Ma'am, this looks more like harassment than mental health crisis. Have you considered filing a complaint against her? Before I could answer, another car pulled into my driveway. Not Jake this time, a silver sedan I didn't recognize. A woman in her 50s stepped out, her face set with determination. Excuse me, officer, she called out, walking toward us. I'm Dr. Sarah Martinez from Riverside Community College. I believe one of my students may be involved in this situation. My mouth fell open. The nursing program director. She'd actually come here in person. Dr. Martinez, I said quickly, I was just drafting an email to you about Emma Rodriguez. No need, she replied grimly. I've received multiple reports about Ms. Rodriguez today. Apparently several people have been forwarding me screenshots of concerning behavior. When someone called my personal phone claiming to be you and making bizarre threats, I decided to investigate personally. Emma had impersonated me. She'd actually called Emma's program director pretending to be me. Officer Williams looked between us. Ma'am, if someone has been impersonating you, that's identity fraud. That's a felony. Dr. Martinez pulled out her own phone. The caller claimed to be Sarah Williams and said she was going to make Emma pay for some perceived slight. She used profanity and made threats that frankly sounded unhinged. But the more I thought about it, the more suspicious it seemed. What made you suspicious? I asked. She kept calling Ms. Rodriguez, that girl Emma, instead of using her full name. But according to Ms. Rodriguez's emergency contact forms, you're listed as family. Family members typically don't refer to each other so formally. Dr. Martinez studied my face. Also, the caller seemed to know very little about Ms. Rodriguez's actual academic standing or clinical performance. Emma had tried to destroy her own academic career by impersonating me badly. The irony was almost funny. Officer Williams was writing furiously in his notepad. So we have harassment, extortion, filing false police reports, and identity fraud. Ma'am, I think you need to come down to the station and file a formal complaint. But before I could respond, my phone rang one final time. Emma's number. Answer it, Officer Williams said. Put it on speaker. Emma's voice came through shaky and desperate. Sarah, please. I know you're angry, but I never meant for it to go this far. Just give me back the college money and I'll make all of this go away. Please. I'm begging you. The officer and Dr. Martinez exchanged glances. Ms. Rodriguez, Dr. Martinez said clearly toward the phone, this is Dr. Martinez from your nursing program. I think you and I need to have a very serious conversation on Monday morning. The line went dead. Monday morning came faster than I expected. I barely slept, my mind racing between Emma's panicked phone call and the weight of what was about to unfold. Officer Williams had taken my formal complaint the night before, and Dr. Martinez had scheduled an emergency disciplinary hearing for Emma at 9 a.m. I was sitting in my car outside the nursing building when my phone rang. Jake's number. Sarah, you have to stop this, his voice was hoarse, desperate. Emma didn't sleep all night. She's been throwing up since 6 a.m. You're destroying an innocent person. Innocent? The word tasted bitter. Jake, your wife committed identity fraud. She impersonated me to her own program director. She was panicking. You'd already turned everyone against her online, taken away her money, made her a target for death threats. She wasn't thinking straight. I almost laughed at the irony. So when Emma makes bad decisions under stress, she's just panicking. But when I make decisions after she destroys my daughter's photos, I'm mentally unstable? That's not. Sarah, please. Just think about what Lily would want. Would she want you to destroy someone's life like this? The mention of my daughter's name made my vision blur with rage. Don't you dare use Lily to manipulate me. Your wife already destroyed every photo I had of her. Don't let her destroy her memory too. Through the nursing building's glass doors, I could see Emma pacing in the lobby, her face pale and drawn. She looked like she'd aged years in the past 48 hours. She's here, I told Jake. Your wife is about to face the consequences of her choices. Sarah, if you have any love left for me as your brother, please don't go in there. Don't make this worse. But I was already hanging up, already walking toward the building. Emma saw me through the glass and her face crumpled. She mouthed please at me, pressing her palm against the window like she was trapped in a cage. Inside, Dr. Martinez was waiting with 2 other faculty members and what looked like a student advocate. Emma's support system, I realized. People fighting for her future while she'd systematically tried to destroy mine. Ms. Williams, Dr. Martinez said formally, thank you for coming. I know this is difficult for everyone involved. Emma's voice came out as a whisper. Sarah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know what I did was wrong. I was trying to help, but I see now that I was completely out of line. It was the first real apology I'd heard from her, but it felt too little, too late. Ms. Rodriguez, Dr. Martinez continued, the evidence against you is quite serious. The harassment campaign, the false police reports, the identity fraud when you called me pretending to be Ms. Williams. These behaviors are completely incompatible with nursing ethics. But she took away my college money. Emma's voice broke. I've worked for 4 years to get here. I'm 3 months from graduating. 3 months from having a career, from helping people. Doesn't that count for anything? One of the other faculty members, an older woman with silver hair, leaned forward. Ms. Rodriguez, nursing requires sound judgment under pressure. Your response to this conflict shows a pattern of escalating retaliation and deception. How can we trust you with vulnerable patients? Emma turned to me, tears streaming down her face. Sarah, please. Tell them this isn't who I really am. Tell them I was just scared and made mistakes. I looked at this woman who destroyed the only photos I had of my daughter, who'd spent 2 days systematically trying to destroy my reputation and career, who'd called the police and reported me as dangerous. And then I thought about Lily's tiny hand in mine, a memory that was already getting hazier without photos to anchor it. This is exactly who you are, I said quietly. The disciplinary hearing lasted 2 hours, but it felt like a lifetime. Emma's student advocate tried everything: character witnesses, academic records, letters from clinical supervisors praising her bedside manner. None of it mattered against the screenshots of her threatening texts and the recorded evidence of her impersonating me. When Dr. Martinez finally announced Emma's expulsion, effective immediately, the sound Emma made was almost inhuman. A keening wail that echoed off the conference room walls and made everyone flinch. For years, she sobbed into her hands. 4 years of my life, gone. I should have felt satisfied. This was justice, wasn't it? But watching Emma collapse in that chair, I felt something unexpected, a hollow emptiness where triumph should have been. As I walked to my car, my phone was already buzzing with angry messages from Jake, from Emma's friends, from relatives who'd heard the news. But one text stopped me cold. Asterisk unknown number, congratulations. You've destroyed an innocent woman's career over a phone. I hope you're proud of yourself. Some of us won't forget what kind of person you really are. Asterisk. Then another, asterisk Emma Rodriguez was going to work with sick children. Now she can't because of your selfishness. How many kids won't get the care they need because of what you did today? Asterisk. The messages kept coming, each one a fresh accusation, a new angle of blame. Emma's nursing school friends, her clinical supervisors, people I'd never met who only knew her version of events. By the time I got home, someone had created a Facebook group called Justice for Emma Rodriguez with over 300 members. The posts were vicious. Asterisk Sarah Williams destroyed an aspiring nurse's career over property damage. Emma was just trying to help her move past an unhealthy obsession. Asterisk. Asterisk mental health issues don't excuse ruining someone's life. Emma Rodriguez was weeks away from graduation. Asterisk. Asterisk this woman needs serious psychiatric help. Normal people don't respond to grief counseling with this level of vindictiveness. Asterisk. They'd found photos of me from social media and were sharing them with captions like "This is what entitlement looks like" and "Karen destroys woman's nursing career." Strangers were calling me a monster, a narcissist, a psychopath. Mark found me sitting at the kitchen table, staring at my laptop screen in disbelief. Jesus Christ, they're brutal. Look at this one, I whispered, pointing to a particularly vicious post. Someone found out where I work. They're encouraging people to call Jennifer and demand I be fired. Sarah, maybe you should stay off social media for a while. But I couldn't look away. It was like watching my reputation die in real time. Emma had become a martyr, a promising young nurse destroyed by a grief-crazed woman who couldn't handle losing a phone. That's when my work phone rang. Sarah, it's Jennifer. I'm calling from my personal line because our office phones haven't stopped ringing since this morning. People are demanding we terminate your employment. My stomach dropped. How many calls? 47 so far. Some are just angry, but others are making threats. A few claimed they'd boycott our clients if we don't fire you immediately. Jennifer's voice was strained. I believe you about what really happened, but the board is getting nervous about the liability. Are you firing me? Not today. But Sarah, if this doesn't die down soon, I might not have a choice. The company can't function under this kind of pressure. After I hung up, Mark was pacing again, his face dark with anger. They turned you into the villain. Emma destroys irreplaceable photos of our dead daughter, and somehow you're the monster. My phone buzzed with a call from my mother. Sarah, I just got off the phone with Jake. He's not in good shape, honey. What do you mean? He's talking about Emma having to move back in with her parents. About losing their deposit on the house. About how he might have to declare bankruptcy because of the debt from her first 3 years of school. Mom's voice got careful. Honey, maybe there's still time to fix this. Fix what, Mom? The nursing program. If you called them, explain that you were grieving and maybe overreacted. I was grieving because Emma destroyed photos of my dead granddaughter, I said coldly. Your granddaughter, Mom. I know that, and what she did was wrong. But Sarah, ending her career seems so permanent. Permanent. Like Lily's death. Like the photos that would never exist again. Mom, whose side are you on here? The pause stretched too long. I'm on the side of my family healing instead of destroying each other. After she hung up, I realized the isolation was complete. Even my own mother thought I'd gone too far. That's when I noticed a car parked across the street. A silver Honda that had been there for hours, the driver occasionally taking photos of our house. Mark, I called. I think we're being watched. The silver Honda had been there for 6 hours now. I'd been tracking its presence from our living room window, watching the driver occasionally lift what looked like a camera with a long lens toward our house. It's probably a journalist, Mark said, peering through the blinds. Or one of Emma's supporters trying to get photos for their little hate group. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a notification from the Justice for Emma Rodriguez Facebook group. Someone had posted a blurry photo of me taken through our kitchen window, captioned, Sarah Williams relaxing at home while Emma Rodriguez's life lies in ruins. Notice how she shows no remorse for destroying an innocent woman's future. The comments were immediate and vicious. Look how smug she looks. Asterisk psychopath behavior. No normal person would be this calm after what she did asterisk. Someone should make sure she knows what it feels like to lose everything. That last comment made my blood run cold. Mark read it over my shoulder and immediately pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police about the surveillance, he said, but before he could dial, our doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw a young woman with a press badge hanging around her neck and a man holding a professional camera behind her. Ms. Williams? I'm Katie Chen from Channel 7 News. We'd like to get your side of the story regarding Emma Rodriguez's expulsion from nursing school. I backed away from the door. Don't answer it, Mark whispered, but the reporter kept talking through the wood. We understand you've been receiving death threats over social media. Our viewers deserve to know the full truth about what happened between you and Ms. Rodriguez. My phone started ringing. Jake's number. Sarah, please tell me you're not talking to reporters. His voice was frantic. Emma's already been contacted by 3 news stations. This is about to go national. I didn't call any reporters, Jake. Well, someone did, because Channel 7 just ran a teaser for tonight's news. Local woman destroys nursing student's career in revenge plot. They're making you sound like a sociopath. Through the window, I could see more cars pulling up to our street. News vans, sedans with press plates, even what looked like a blogger with a smartphone live stream setup. Jesus Christ, Mark muttered. It's like a circus out there. The reporter was still talking through our door. Ms. Williams, we've spoken with several family members who say you've been struggling with mental health issues since your loss. Emma Rodriguez's supporters claim she was trying to help you when this situation escalated. Don't you want people to hear your perspective? My perspective. As if there was some version of events where destroying photos of my dead baby could be justified. Mark, we need to get out of here, I said, grabbing my purse and keys. Before this gets worse. But when I opened the back door to sneak out through our yard, I found another reporter waiting by our fence with a camera crew. Ms. Williams. Can you comment on allegations that you've used your wealth to systematically destroy Emma Rodriguez's life? How do you respond to accusations that you're abusing your position of financial power? We were trapped. Reporters at the front door, cameras at the back fence, and a growing crowd of vehicles filling our normally quiet street. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Asterisk, this is what you get for ruining Emma's life. Now everyone will see what kind of monster you really are. Asterisk. Then another. Asterisk, Channel 7 has Emma's side of the story. Can't wait to watch you try to justify destroying someone's career over a phone. Asterisk. Mark was checking news websites on his laptop, his face getting paler by the minute. Sarah, you need to see this. Channel 7 had already posted a preview online. Emma sitting in what looked like her parents' living room, tears streaming down her face as she spoke to the interviewer. I was just trying to help Sarah move forward in her grief. I know losing a baby is devastating, but she was obsessing over these photos in an unhealthy way. When I tried to intervene, she destroyed my entire future. 4 years of school, gone. My dreams of helping sick children, over. All because I cared enough to try helping her heal. The comments below the video were unanimously supportive of Emma. This poor girl just wanted to help and got her life ruined for it. Asterisk, Sarah Williams is clearly mentally unstable. Emma deserves justice. Asterisk. Someone needs to investigate how this woman is allowed to control that much money. That last comment hit differently than the others. It wasn't just angry, it sounded calculating, like someone was already looking for ways to challenge my legal control over the trust fund. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I recognized, my grandmother's old attorney, Mr. Hartwell. Sarah, I'm calling because my office has received several inquiries about the trust fund your grandmother established. People are asking questions about the terms of distribution and whether there are grounds to challenge your discretionary authority. The room started spinning. Challenge my authority? On what grounds? Mental incapacity. If someone could demonstrate that you're not making rational decisions about the trust distributions, they could petition the court for oversight or even request a new trustee. Emma wasn't just destroying my reputation anymore. She was coming for the inheritance itself. The reporters weren't leaving. By evening, our street looked like a crime scene. News vans lined up bumper to bumper, their satellite dishes pointed toward our house like weapons. I could hear them through the windows, doing live broadcasts from our front yard. This is Katie Chen reporting from the home of Sarah Williams, the woman at the center of a controversy that's captivated social media. Mark had closed all the blinds, but the camera flashes still leaked through the cracks, strobing against our walls like lightning. We were prisoners in our own home. Sarah, Mark said quietly. Mr. Hartwell called back. He wants to meet tomorrow morning. Says it's urgent. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. I'd been ignoring them all day, but something made me answer this one. Ms. Williams? This is Patricia Rodriguez, Emma's mother. The woman's voice was thick with tears. Please, I'm begging you. My daughter is in the hospital. My stomach dropped. What happened? She collapsed at home this afternoon. Panic attack, dehydration, she hasn't eaten in 3 days. The doctors say she's having a complete breakdown. Mrs. Rodriguez's voice cracked. She keeps saying her life is over, that she has nothing left. Please, she's just a young woman who made a mistake. I closed my eyes, trying to block out the image of Emma in a hospital bed. Mrs. Rodriguez, I'm sorry she's suffering, but... You have children's blood on your hands now, she interrupted, her grief suddenly turning to fury. Emma wanted to be a pediatric nurse. She wanted to save babies like the one you lost. Now she can't save anyone because of your selfishness. The line went dead, leaving me staring at my phone in shock. Who was that? Mark asked. Emma's mother. Emma's in the hospital. Mark's face went pale. Jesus. How bad? Before I could answer, my laptop chimed with a news alert. Channel 7 had just posted breaking news, nursing student hospitalized following career destruction by vengeful woman. The article was devastating. Photos of Emma being loaded into an ambulance, quotes from her family about her deteriorating mental state, statements from her nursing instructors about what a promising healer the medical community had lost. But the worst part was the quote from Jake: "My sister has become someone I don't recognize. Grief has turned her into a person capable of destroying innocent lives without remorse. Emma is paying the ultimate price for my sister's inability to heal. My own brother. On the record, calling me a monster." The comments section was exploding faster than I could read them. Asterisk, this woman is dangerous. Someone check on her neighbors. Asterisk. Emma Rodriguez should sue for everything Sarah Williams has. Asterisk, how is this psychopath allowed to control a trust fund? Investigation needed ASAP. Asterisk. That's when I noticed something that made my blood freeze. One commenter had posted what looked like legal documents, pages from my grandmother's trust agreement, somehow obtained and photographed. "Mark, look at this," I whispered, pointing to the screen. "Someone has copies of the trust paperwork." He leaned over my shoulder, scanning the legal language. "How did they get this?" "These documents should be confidential." My phone buzzed with a text from Mr. Hartwell. Asterisk, Sarah, call me immediately. We have a serious problem. Asterisk. I called him back with shaking hands. "Sarah, someone has filed an emergency petition with the probate court." His voice was grim. "They're requesting immediate suspension of your trustee authority pending a mental competency evaluation." "Who filed it?" "Emma Rodriguez, through a public interest law firm. They're claiming you've demonstrated severe mental instability and are misusing trust assets for personal vendettas. The petition includes hundreds of social media screenshots, witness statements about your behavior, and medical opinions about your mental state." The room was spinning again. Medical opinions? From who? That's the problem, Sarah. Someone claiming to be your doctor submitted a statement expressing concerns about your psychological condition following your loss. If it's legitimate, it could be devastating to our case. Emma had found another angle of attack. Even from her hospital bed, she was systematically dismantling everything I had left. Outside, the reporters were setting up lights for another round of evening broadcasts. I could hear them discussing tomorrow's coverage, already planning how to document my complete destruction. "Mr. Hartwell," I said quietly, "what happens if they succeed? If the court suspends my authority? Then a court-appointed trustee takes control of the entire inheritance. Every penny of it would be out of your hands, potentially forever." Emma wasn't just coming for her college money anymore. She was coming for everything. The courthouse steps were slick with morning rain as Mark and I hurried toward the probate hearing that would determine my fate. Mr. Hartwell met us at the entrance, his face grim. "Sarah, I have news," he said quietly. "The medical statement submitted against you? It was forged. Dr. Patterson never wrote it." My heart leaped. "Can we prove that?" "She's testifying this morning. Turns out she kept detailed records of Emma's calls to her office, including recordings of the threats Emma made when Dr. Patterson refused to declare you mentally incompetent." Inside the courtroom, Emma sat with her legal team, looking pale but determined. Jake was beside her, pointedly avoiding my gaze. When she saw me, something flickered across her face, not the satisfaction I expected, but something that looked almost like fear. Judge Morrison called the hearing to order, and Emma's lawyer immediately launched into his opening statement about my dangerous mental instability and abuse of fiduciary responsibility. But then Dr. Patterson took the stand. "Your Honor, I need to clarify something about the medical statement submitted in this case," she said firmly. "I did not write that document. In fact, Ms. Rodriguez called my office repeatedly, demanding I declare Mrs. Williams mentally incompetent. When I refused, she threatened to file complaints against my medical license." Emma's lawyer looked stunned. "Your Honor, we had no knowledge." Furthermore, Dr. Patterson continued, "I have recordings of Ms. Rodriguez explicitly stating her intention to destroy Sarah Williams by any means necessary if she didn't receive the college funding she felt entitled to." The courtroom erupted in whispers. Emma's face had gone white as paper. Mr. Hartwell stood up. "Your Honor, we'd like to submit additional evidence. Phone records showing Ms. Rodriguez's systematic harassment campaign, witness statements from Mrs. Williams' employer confirming the extortion attempts, and documentation from the nursing school regarding Ms. Rodriguez's expulsion for ethical violations." As the evidence mounted, Emma's case crumbled like tissue paper in rain. The forged medical documents, the recorded threats, the pattern of harassment, it painted a picture of calculated malice, not a concerned family member trying to help. When Judge Morrison finally spoke, his voice was ice cold. "Ms. Rodriguez, your actions in this matter represent one of the most egregious cases of manipulation and fraud I've seen in 30 years on this bench. Not only is your petition denied, but I'm referring this case to the district attorney for potential criminal charges." Emma collapsed into her chair, sobbing. Jake finally looked at me, his face filled with something that might have been shame. But the real vindication came later that afternoon, when Channel 7 ran a follow-up story. Dr. Patterson had agreed to an interview, and she didn't hold back. "Emma Rodriguez systematically harassed my patient during the most vulnerable time of her life," she told the cameras. "She destroyed irreplaceable photos of a deceased child and then launched a calculated campaign to destroy Mrs. Williams' reputation when there were consequences for her actions. The social media tide turned overnight. The Justice for Emma Rodriguez group was flooded with people apologizing to me, deleting their previous posts, demanding Emma face criminal charges for her fraud. By the end of the week, Emma had been arrested for filing false police reports, identity fraud, and perjury. The nursing board issued a statement that even if her expulsion were somehow reversed, she would be permanently barred from healthcare work due to her ethical violations. I never got Lily's photos back. That loss would always be with me, an ache that no justice could heal. But I learned something important in those dark weeks. Grief doesn't justify everything, but neither does claiming to help someone heal. Emma had gambled everything on her ability to manipulate the narrative, and she'd lost completely. The inheritance remained mine, untouched and secure. Sometimes the system actually works,